Back to Wild Style. This is Angela, and today I wanted to go through real quick with you the seeds that I got because I just got my seed order in from Johnny's. I'm a little bit late this year. Usually I like to get my seed order in the fall, but we just have kind of had a crazy fall, Christmas, winter, so I'm a little late. So if you are also late on getting your seeds ordered, not to worry. Go ahead and do it now. I got mine in less than a week. They came pretty quick, and there's still a lot of varieties out there. So there's a couple things that I did want that I couldn't find because I'm later in the season ordering them, but I was able to get most of what I wanted. So one thing I did not find was a lot of varieties of geraniums. They do still have some really cool ones, but they didn't have the ones that I wanted. So I ended up with the Maverick Apple Blossom, which is one of my favorite varieties. That's the only one I got this year, just because they were low on other varieties. And other websites I checked on were fairly low on different geranium varieties also. So if you are wanting geraniums, that may be one to think about ordering earlier in the year. But the Apple Blossom is a beautiful variety. It's fun to grow because it's kind of like got white around the edges with a little bit of pink in the center, and just reminds me of blossoms on apple trees, which is where they get the name, I'm sure. The salmon varieties are also beautiful. There's still some of those left, so if you do want to get some of those started, go ahead. I'm probably looking at starting seedlings in probably the next month or two. So usually February to March for us is when I kind of start thinking about getting my seeds going. So that's coming up. So the geraniums, I typically put geraniums in a lot of my containers around my porches and around my yard because they are a really good container flower, usually. So I also got two varieties of violas this year. This is a new thing for me. I've not grown violas before, but I wanted to try them because they're a little bit more cold tolerant. I was hoping to be able to get them started so that I can put them out a little bit sooner in the spring, and they might take sooner than some of my other flowers. So those I'm going to have to get seeded up probably quicker. They'll probably be one of the first things I start indoors for my seedlings. But I got this is a hybrid viola, Floral Power Plum. Okay, this one I picked. I just love how it had different shades of purple, and then it looked like some hints of a little bit of orange or red in there with that, but it was mostly just kind of light purple shades. I thought that would be fun, and I thought it would actually complement really well with the viola. This is the viola tricolor is the other one I got. It's a Helen Mount is what it's called here. This is your typical viola, like blues, purples, and yellows. So this is your traditional viola that has the deep blues and the yellows coming together. I thought that would be kind of fun to complement with the Floral Power Plum variety, and that would look really fun in our containers out on the porches. Then I've got several things that I'm hoping to do a little bit more with my cut flowers this year. I had got some last year, but I'm wanting to do more with that this year. So I got an ornamental grass, this hare's tail grass. And so I thought that would be fun in flower arrangements because it comes up on a stem, and then there's just a little like tuft of what looks like a little poof ball of grass, almost like a cattail, but green and smaller. And I just thought that would be a fun addition to any flower arrangements. So I'm hoping we can get some of those growing. And then I also got, this is the crane red kale. So this is an ornamental kale, which I think just looks beautiful. I'm hoping to put that around the yard and in some of my planters. And I'm hoping to do that more towards the end of the season because the kale can actually withstand a little bit of snow and some frost. I'm hoping to just carry that beauty of summer into a little bit into the fall for a little bit longer. So got some ornamental kale to try. I got some Oxford Blue Salvia, and these are fun. I just like the way these looked. It's not even so much a flower as it is like the leaf that grows that deep blue on the branches. This is also fairly tolerant of frost, so can go a little bit later into the season. So I'm hoping to kind of just extend our season a little bit on the front end and the back end with some of these varieties that can handle a little bit of frost. So we're gonna try those this year. Okay, then I'm gonna butcher this, but I got this tall blue planet ageratum seed. These are tall upright stems, and they almost look like little puff balls of flour, little fireworks on a stick almost. These are a nice filler for bouquets. They attract bees and butterflies. It's also known as floss flower or blue mink. I haven't tried these before, so I thought that would be fun. These are going to be 80 to 100 days growing season, so if I'm going to do them in the ground, I probably need to get them going soon at the early in the season. I also got Status Pink Pokers as kind of a filler for a flower arrangement. They just stand straight up, and they just have kind of a pink coloration. Looks like pink tuft of grass almost coming up. They're really cute. I thought it'd be a fun addition to some flower arrangements. Hopefully we can get that going. I got two varieties of Cosmos, the Double Click Rose Bonbon and the Double Click Bicolor Violet. So I picked the Double Click ones because the flowers themselves are almost have like a double layer of petals, I think is why they're called that. And they're a little bit fuller of a flower. So last year I did just regular cosmos, and they're beautiful and they're fun because they remind me of cupcake liners on a stick, and they kind of blow in the breeze, and they're cute and they're beautiful. But I wanted to try something that's just a little bit fuller this year. And so I grabbed these. Those cosmos last year grew for me really, really well, and they even held up in our wind. So that's why I was excited about these, but I did want something that was just a little bit fuller so that when I stick them in a flower arrangement, it makes a little bit more of a statement. So I'm going to try those. I have two varieties of zinnias, the Oklahoma Pink and the Benares Giant Purple. And so these, again, just for cut flower arrangements, popping them in there. I tried to do my cut flower arrangement flowers in mostly yellows, pinks, and purples, or blues, if you prefer to call them that. So that way that they all kind of go together. Last year I had tried to do some reds in there, and I didn't actually get enough red and orange varieties to make what would be a fall style flower bouquet. So this year I think I'm just sticking to pinks and purples, things where they all kind of go together so that when they're all blooming at the same time, or even if they're not and they're all blooming a little bit of variety, they'll still all go together, and I'll be able to make a little bit fuller bouquets because I don't have to try and time the flowers blooming. So I have two varieties of snapdragons. These will either go in container pots or in the cut flower garden, maybe a little bit of both. I'm not sure yet, but I got the Potomac Plum Blossom Snapdragon and the Potomac Orange Snapdragon. So both beautiful varieties, lots of color in them. They're going to be fun to grow. So I'm excited for those. I did get a Cranberry Rose Straw Flower. This one is darker than some. It's more of a darker red variety, but I really like the structure on the way these come out and how it almost like they stay in like a little ball and they're opening up from that ball, which is kind of fun. These are also like really good dried flower arrangements, so I thought that would be great to try. But it's kind of almost like a pomegranate color is what that reminds me of, like pomegranate seed color. And I'm restocking my sunflowers. Hopefully we can keep the antelope out of the sunflower bed this year and actually get them to grow. But the teddy bear dwarf sunflowers, those are fun because they just look soft and fuzzy, like a giant soft yellow sunflower. That's beautiful. It'd be fun also in a flower arrangement. So I might cut some of those off and throw them in a bouquet. The Pro Cut White Knight is a white sunflower, which looks great in flower arrangements. So the Pro Cut variety, this White Knight is a pale yellow, almost white, and then it has a dark center. So it's going to look really good because that light color to it's going to contrast really well with my pinks and purples of my other flowers that I've got. So when I go to make a bouquet, it'll look beautiful. These also come on a single stem. So there's one flower per stem, which makes them easy to cut and throw in a bouquet. Okay, switching gears a little bit because that's kind of the end of my cut flower stuff. Switching gears a little bit to the vegetable garden. So we needed to restock some of those seeds. So we've got some daikon radishes. I don't like to eat radishes, but I like to plant radishes in with my carrots because it helps space my carrots properly, as long as you don't get too many radishes. Last year we got too many radishes and it kind of messed up the carrots, so I'm going to have to be a little bit more careful about that. But if you just do a few radishes in between your carrots, that will help, or alternate carrot to radish, that helps space your carrots apart appropriately. My husband does like to eat them though, so they're not totally wasted. Onions, I got a Barolo hybrid red onion. We have really long day summers, so I need to get long day varieties of onions. If you have days where the sun is not as long, then make sure you look, because there are short day varieties, there's medium day varieties, and there's long day varieties. And so figure out what's right for your area and make sure you plant the right type of onion, or you will not get the onion production that you need. I also got Walla Walla sweet yellow onions and the Patterson hybrid yellow onions. The Patterson ones are supposed to store really well for up to like 6 months, which isn't usually an issue because we usually eat them fairly quickly. The Walla Walla sweets supposedly don't store as well. This will be my first year growing them, but they're supposed to have really good flavor. And I think they're probably going to store for as long as I'm going to need them either way. But I wanted the Pattersons just in case, so we had some longer lasting ones. Pumpkins, we had a bit of an issue with our pumpkins this last year. So we tried to harvest our own seeds, and they probably cross-pollinated with something else because they didn't get, the jack-o'-lantern seeds didn't get as big as they should have. So I went ahead and replaced my jack-o'-lantern seeds with pure ones. So that way we're ready to go, because I do want to make sure that we have some good jack-o'-lantern pumpkins to carve. So we got the Igor variety, which these are huge pumpkins. They probably won't grow that huge in Wyoming because we have a short growing season, but I'm hoping they will still make it for a nice large jack-o'-lantern. And then I also got the early giants, which will help with our short season too if they get bigger earlier. I got a specialty, the Jardal pumpkin. And this one I think is just beautiful. It's kind of a light, they call it gray, like slate gray, skin colored pumpkin, and they're just beautiful. And then when you cut it open, it's got beautiful orange flesh. So just fun for fall decorations, but you can also eat them too. And then yellow summer squash, tried to plant that this year. We didn't get any harvest coming off of those, so I'm not sure why that is. But this year I've got more seeds, so we're gonna try again. And then carrots. These are the Narvik carrot variety. Supposed to be a small core on the carrot, and then it's like a really nice looking long skinny carrot. So I'm hoping that that's going to make for a good flavor. I don't usually like carrot cores, so hopefully this will be a variety that I like, but I haven't tried it yet, so it's all new. So that's what I've got for seeds so far. Stay tuned. I will try and take you along with me as I start planting some of these seeds in a month or two. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.